many fans you were in this year.
Hello and welcome back to coverage of the PDGA Euro Tour. We are at the second stop, the Konopiště Open 2023, and we are happy to be bringing you round 2 front 9 FPO lead card coverage here on the beautiful Franz Ferdinand disc golf course. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Rachel Turton.
Back in the booth, let's go, I'm excited. Now we have Anneli, she's the Estonian, and rated 930. Her C1 putting in the first round was absolutely fantastic at 73%, and looking forward to watching her this round.
Joining her, we have Sofie Björlycke, rated at 930, 100% C1X putting in round 1. Some incredible statistics as she looks to compete here as well on this lead card.
Next up on the tee will be Kristi, also from Estonia, rated 908 with 90% C1 putting and an 83% scramble rate. That's a great rate.
Representing Tallinn, Estonia here, our second Estonian on the lead card, and rounding us out here, yourself, Rachel Turton, 938 rating currently. You had a really strong performance in round 1 as you look to continue this year in round 2. Could you talk a little bit about your mindset coming into second round on the lead card?
Yeah, it's a fantastic course and I was in a good position. Looking forward to attacking this big course again.
We get started here on hole 1, a par 3 sitting at 122 meters. There is OB lining the left of the fairway the entire way. A lot of players will opt for a backhand that pushes the right side tree line as close as possible, but you need to ensure to maintain a soft landing with OB also long. The forehand is also an option with something stable to ensure that you fade back into the fairway.
Anneli, our current leader, takes to the tee, throwing a backhand. Just like Connor said, out to that right-hand side, just pushing them trees. And she just pops out into the fairway. It's a great shot.
A very common result to find the branches. The real mistake that you want to avoid here is finding that OB left. So a lot of players will err on the side of caution to the right. As we see Sofie now going with something a little bit more understable, gets a significant turnover, but without the final fade will find herself short and to the right side.
She knows that disc very well. I was a little worried when she released it, but the nice turnover. Kristi now with the forehand, showing that there's lots of different options, lots of different ways to attack this hole. She pushes out over that OB, but trusts her disc and it fades into the basket perfectly, but does skip long and will be OB.
An unfortunate outcome there for a well-shaped shot. We see Rachel here getting it out to that right side, although slightly more in the middle than some of the other lines. You see the glide, you see the touch, and as that lands in the bullseye, skips a little bit, you're well positioned for a birdie putt.
Yeah, it was a fantastic drive. Definitely better than my first drive, so I was happy.
Kristi here from the drop zone. Still some significant distance, by no means an easy upshot. She hangs a hyzer forehand out to the left side, swings it back in. She'll be left with about 6 or 7 meters.
It's a long drop zone. It's a scary one to look at. Anneli with the nice approach into the bullseye. Sofie hoping to follow suit. A nice jump putt, and that leaves her in the bullseye too.
Although not playing from the drop zone, Sofie is there safe. Rachel up first, just off right side.
A tricky first putt, but an easy one to run looking up the hill. But I would have liked to have made that.
Kristi now, this is for bogey. That signature stab putt of hers coming up just a little bit low. Worth mentioning that the conditions here on day 2 were not as kind to the players as in round 1. Rachel, you have a good par save there. It was significantly windier, a little bit more rain, and just a little bit colder due to the clouds, but still some good scoring conditions, especially earlier in the day.
Anneli and Sofie tap in with their pars. And Kristi unfortunately taps in the double bogey with her OB.
And our players will continue to hole 2. A par 4 at 131 meters, although playing slightly longer, this significantly uphill fairway requires a straight shot between these large two trees, and about 100 meters up there then begins to bend to the left. As you then battle through this final tunnel to a well-protected green, you want a straight to hyzer shot off the tee, and then a straight shot to beat the low ceiling and find yourself up there putting.
Yeah, the straight shot past them two trees that you mentioned is the shot that we're going for. And if we make it past the trees, then we'll have a look at the birdie.
The first shot requiring a little bit more work than the second, assuming that you hit your landing zone. We have Anneli up first, your current leader at 5 under par. She gives this a slightly late release. She will be caught in the right side rough, may open up the angle around the corner, but will be heavily obstructed.
Sophie with the lovely turnover. Yeah, she really leans on that disc, has a nice flex line and is perfectly past the tree, is well positioned. Myself on the tee just now, looking to push. Slight early release, but just squeaks past the trees and yeah, makes it into the fairway. It's a good shot.
We see Kristi now. If she can find her composure and have a bounce back after a tricky hole 1, this looks like a great shot as she flips her hyzer angle up to flat and even gets that final fade around the corner, just almost beating it. That is a very well-placed shot.
Anneli with the scramble from the trees. She gets it out onto the fairway, but from a difficult shot from the knee, she did well. And the rest of us will walk up the long hill.
Anneli still throwing. Blind to the green. She'll want to shape a long fighting hyzer that pushes this back tree line just like that, catches the full fade. And that's a solid full flight as she fought blind around the corner. She is positioned for a putt, although might be a longer one.
Sophie now with the clear look at the basket. A little slip on the dewy grass this morning, but pushes a fantastic disc all the way up until into the bullseye.
And Kristi now going to the forehand approach. Really fantastic tee shot. We'll see if she can translate that into a stress-free birdie putt. Fires it a little bit long, but a fortunate backstop off the bottom of the tree, and she's right up there in the circle for her birdie.
Yeah, Kristi has that wonderful forehand. A really nice shot from her. Myself with the straight mid-range, up close to the bullseye.
Strider again?
Always.
Reliable mid-range for you from what we can see here. Anneli now from circle 2, a very long look. And just a little bit low. She's known to have a confident putting stroke from both circle 1 and circle 2, although that one coming up just a bit short early in the day. Kristi putting that one in for birdie. Incredible bounce back after hole 1.
A lovely confident putt as well. That was really nice. Myself now from just outside the bullseye. Looking to get one back from that basket that I missed earlier. So Sophie also taps in her birdie.
And Anneli, her bogey, finding the early right side rough. Just one errant shot, resulting in a 5. Some strokes gained against the leader for this lead card. As the action continues to heat up, our players walk to hole 3. A par 5 sitting at 317 meters, a long demanding hole. You see this initial shot with a variety of branches that you need to beat, as well as a significantly sloping fairway from right to left. A really good shot will position yourself to go around this first bend and into the open towards this large guardian on the right side. You then have to break out through these further trees into a wide open, very generous fairway, although requiring a ton of distance to battle your way up to the green. I think par is a totally fine score to be taking for a lot of the field here.
Agreed, yeah, par would be a fantastic score on a hole which is playing as over a stroke over par. Ideally, we want to bite as much distance off this first shot as we can. Sophie with the lovely backhand. She just turns that disc over like she has been doing, and it's a perfect shot into the middle of the fairway.
Nice control of the height and nose angle there to get the distance, but safely, not bringing the branches into play. Rachel, you opt for the forehand here, getting it up to flat, fading as well just underneath those branches. A little bit of a cut roll, a common result for the forehand, but a nice safe position.
Yeah, I really did think I was going to catch the tree on that one, a little higher than I would have liked to. As Kristi shows us her great forehand, just unfortunately catching the limbs of the tree, leaving her on the right-hand side of the fairway. Anneli now with the backhand. A very powerful shot, nicely shaped, and lands her perfectly in the middle of the fairway a long way up.
Kristi here, catching an early branch, still with some work to do. This looks like a great forehand hyzer to battle around that first corner, and she is right in the middle of the fairway. A great shot to position herself back into a safe spot after a tough shot on the first. This is Sofie now shaping the anhyzer release. She'll hope to have this pan out. Naturally, with the slope of the fairway, though, discs do want to fade left. She mitigates some of that with the anhyzer release.
Fantastic shot from Sofie. Yeah, that's a really tricky one. Trying to go over the hill, but not fade out too much. I pipe the forehand up into the middle. And Anneli with the furthest drive, but leaves herself just behind the last hanging limbs. She throws a lovely low forehand and gets a lot of skip distance. A fantastic shot from her, leaving her in the middle of the fairway.
Kristi here. Not quite as center in the fairway as the previous camera angle may have suggested. Still slightly pinched. She is going to be shaping a hyzer, not getting a full distance shot down the fairway. She fades just before that tree, and she is now in the middle of the fairway for sure. And good progress up the fairway from a tough position.
Yeah, I agree. That is, being on the left-hand side of the previous fairway is a tough position. Sofie trying to flex one over again. We want to try and bite off as much distance down to the next fairway as we can, and she's done a fantastic job of that. She'll probably be maybe 50 meters away from the pin.
Rachel, we see you here. This is your third shot now, wanting to push straight through the gap. You get a soft anhyzer on this as it punches through. Ton of glide there, slides right on up. That should be a short approach to try and secure the par.
That's the plan. Anneli now looking to bite off the distance around the corner. A little slip, unfortunately, on the wet grass. Just lands her just left off the fairway.
Kristi here. This is her fourth shot. She'll want to get this as close to the green as possible, playing to the hillside, pumps one out straight, catching that final fade at the end. She'll be left, looks to be just outside circle 2, although putting downhill will be a lengthy look, but still possible if she wants to give it a bid.
Anneli looking to try and put it close. She throws a nice hyzer, which skips to just left of the basket, probably edge of C1. Sofie with the nice clean look. She doesn't have to contend with the trees. And throws a backhand. It looks like a slow disc, maybe a putter, and very accurate into the bullseye.
Softly into the hillside and playing the slope to get the extra little added ground play. Rachel, you're up here playing the hyzer forehand approach and dinks it. Really nice precision. That should be a tap-in par, stress-free.
Yeah, it feels nice to be able to have a tap-in par on the hole. Kristi looking for her.
That's for par. She gave it a bid. And the roll away as well, leaving her with a considerable distance for the comebacker. That was a really good attempt there. So close to keeping it in. As Anneli walks up, she finds that weak side and chains out the left.
Yeah, there are some brutal rolling greens here. She comes for the comebacker. And a nice confident putt stroke into the basket for bogey.
A great stab putt. Her putts never really deviate between the band and the cage. Just a very straight line to the chains. As she will secure her bogey. We see Sofie there for par, making sure to put that one in. Nicely done. Kept it in the fairway. Anneli, with only one missed putt on the green, finds herself her second bogey of the round. And as the seats shift a little bit, we see Rachel and Sofie at 4 under par. Anneli drops to 3 under, and Kristi at 1 under. Already by hole 3, things are exciting. Here you see hole 4. a par 3 sitting at 87 meters. This is a tricky shot requiring great precision for a lot of players, likely a hyzer, flip up to flat, potentially a forehand if you're comfortable shaping it through the gap. This is a straight looking shot that you need to hit the tunnel on and then try to have a soft landing on this hillside to ensure that you don't roll away.
With the shorter FPO basket here, a shot that will get you past the first limbs of the trees will sit you in a good position.
Would you say for a champion level pace, this is a must get birdie?
Ideally, yes, it's one of the shorter holes on the course, so this is one that we're looking to try and attack. Sophie with the nice turnover backhand again, a very reliable shot for her, and it's perfect, straight down the middle of the fairway, and yeah, we'll leave her middle of C1. I'm looking to follow, attempting to throw the same shot.
The line has been shown. You go a little bit wider on the right side, but finding a fortunate gap through the underside of those trees, you also sneak into a open putt about circle's edge.
Yeah. Kristi showing us a different route with the forehand. That's a shot she leans on a lot and is very good at. And showing us her class here, yeah, she pipes it into C1. Fantastic.
Really smooth. A lot of these Estonian players in both the FPO and MPO field with a solid forehand game, whatever they have in the water over there, seems to be working. Anneli opting for that backhand, gets it a little bit nose up and hyzers out a touch early. She will be in circle 2 with an obstructed look.
Caught by them last trees from going too far to the left. She's going to be left with a forehand approach, which hyzers out and is caught lucky by a tree at the end, which knocks her just outside of the bullseye.
Likely no damage done. So we see you give it a bid and just a touch low off the cage. Very close. Sophie now. She finds it, and that's a solid birdie there to put herself to 2 down for the round, already on hole 4.
Kristi also with the birdie look. Just over the cage and into the basket. Fantastic.
We see a smile from her, appreciating that that one was able to stay in. Anneli now drills that very fast putt from the short distance. She does not often like to modulate the power on the putt. She is a real power putter, giving it the confidence every time. And Rachel, you tap in your 3 as we see 2 birdies, 2 pars.
Yeah, we're really moving on moving day.
Hole 5, a par 4 at 219 meters, a beautiful tee shot off the elevated tee, a right to left sloping fairway, as well as some enormous old trees that you need to shape your shot between. A really good shot will get here to this bend where the fairway then goes significantly uphill and about 90 degrees to the right. It is often from a great shot only 90 or 100 meters, but playing significantly more than that requires a ton of power to battle up there on your second. There's also a secondary fairway in the initial right gap. You can play a big forehand or sky and hyzer to go before those trees on the right, and then play the hyzer backdoor entrance, but really just the preference of the player.
Another long hole, which unsurprisingly plays about half a stroke over par. Sophie now lining up the forehand line. She also has an extremely powerful forehand. Turns this over a little and is hoping for a little fade. Just catches that tree and will be left with a shot from underneath.
Kristi now also comfortable with the forehand. Flips this one up to flat. Begins to fade out. Quite an overstable disc. And as she gets that final skip, she'll be right before the banners. I think still some choices for her to be made about her route to the basket.
Yeah, I'm aiming for the early fairway on the right, throwing an overstable forehand, a D1, and yeah, we'll have a backhand look up the hill. Anneli, we know she is great with the backhand, attempting to throw a turnover. A lovely straight disc. Is going to hyzer out a little bit with that fairway from the right to the left, but ends safe.
Sitting down just before the OB, she is safe, although will have a significant distance up to the basket. As we saw Sofie there scrambling, catching a branch on her way out, not able to bite off as much distance as she may have liked. Anneli just bombing this up the hill as far as she can, gives herself a short upshot, maybe even a very long putt up the hill remaining.
Yeah, that was a real rip up the hill. A fantastic shot from Anneli. I'm playing up the other fairway, looking to pipe it as far up the hill as I can.
An enthusiastic caddy there, making sure that she sees the shot. Sofie shaping the anhyzer once again to combat that hill fight up there. And as she fades out just a touch early, a common result getting a disc so nose up going up the hill. You see what she's left with here now. A hyzer towards the green. Very smooth. She hits the pole.
Anneli with the look at birdie. It's a great effort and she puts it very close to the basket inside the bullseye. I've got a slightly obstructed look at the basket and I'm opting to just throw the forehand skip shot underneath the tree limbs, aiming to put it close, which I have.
Some nice upshots to ensure a par. As we see now the putts remaining. Kristi up first.
Nice. Solid.
And her first par of the round, worth mentioning. She is on a roller coaster right now, finally settling a little bit. And for you as well, as we now begin to look at what is likely a par frame for our field. Common result on hole 5.
Sofie, I believe, will tap in the bogey this time. She was unfortunate with hitting the tree limbs at first and yeah, taps in the bogey.
We are on hole 6, a 115-meter par 3, one of the more attackable holes on the course, but not without its dangers, given that it is right to left sloping, and OB on the left side marked by the white stakes. Very common that a backhand, even released on anhyzer if it's a bit too high, will fade and skip towards that out of bounds. A lot of players will opt to try and shape something considerably to the right side. Similar to hole 1, you just want to avoid the danger on the left and play to the side of caution. Maybe giving you a long putt for birdie.
It's a scary putt to run there looking at that OB. Let's hope our women can put it close. Kristi with the hyzer flip, but doesn't quite flip enough and just fades out into the OB left. A very common landing area. I'm looking to learn from Kristi's mistake. Throwing the FX3, a straight fairway driver. Hyzer flipping, getting it over.
Really smooth. Great height there to control the ground play. A little bit close to danger, but sits it down in the circle. That OB is only about 10 to 14 meters, depending on how far up the fairway you get. So it can come into play very quickly. Anneli just hugging the right side. She will now catch the full fade and skip. And coming up just a little bit short, but still looking at a putt for birdie.
Yeah, that right-hand side is safe, like you say. So I think that was a really nice shot from Anneli. Sofie again throwing the same disc with the turnover backhand and just fading out to the right a little. Kristi with the nice approach from the OB. She leaves herself inside the bullseye.
And Sofie now likely just a layup given the significant distance and risk behind the basket. A great touch there, landing flat, slowing that disc down. She is about 5 meters out for her par. Anneli now surely going to go for this high risk, high reward, and she finds the reward. Incredible putt.
A great putt, and yeah, just really shows her confidence with her putting. Taps the basket to say thank you. A great birdie. And I follow suit, yeah, from maybe 7 meters out.
Another very confident putt as we see Sofie now securing her par, also finding the chains.
And Kristi from inside the bullseye taps in the bogey.
And I'll give a quick shout out to Kristi's bag organization. Very nicely color-coded. Very pleasing to see.
Yeah, Anneli's too. Anneli's look like a rainbow, so it was nice to see.
We move on to hole 7, a par 3 that says 82 meters, although it plays significantly more, another severely uphill shot. A tunnel the entire way. You need to battle the low ceiling as well as the narrow width and ensure that you can get there straight the entire way. A lot of players will opt for a hyzer flip up to flat with something understable to fight the uphill, or an anhyzer release with a more stable disc trying to play the flex for distance.
Yeah, just trying to pipe up as much distance as we possibly can on this tee shot. It is extremely uphill, like you say. Plays much longer than 82 meters. I'm throwing a distance driver, D1, beat in 1 understable. And we'll just fade out to the left-hand side.
Anneli now on the box. Good snap to that backhand. Hyzer release up to flat. She finds it fading towards the end, but nestles right up there within the circle for her birdie putt. Has enough distance despite hyzering out early. That's a great shot.
Yeah, almost pin high. That's a fantastic shot from Anneli. Sofie looks to turn that disc over, but catches some early trees on the left and will be left just to the left of the fairway.
Common complication on hole 7, matching the nose angle to the hill perfectly is really hard, and it's very common players throw it a little bit too high and fade out, or a little bit too low and ground it. Kristi there uses the height, but really a nicely understable disc that is able to glide all the way up.
Sofie from just the left-hand side of the fairway puts it up into the bullseye, nice and close to the basket.
And hole 7 is another heavily sloping green that can risk a rollaway if you find metal other than the chains, as you give that a high floaty bid and sit it down.
Yeah, I was really lucky that Sofie saw where my disc went. It was rooted underneath the fallen tree limb, so if she didn't have seen it, then we could have been looking at a lost disc situation here. Anneli with the look at birdie, just right-hand side of the basket, bounces off. And Kristi with a fantastic birdie. Yeah, that was a lovely drive, just flipped up and rode, and confident putt to birdie.
Still only sitting on 1 par for Kristi. She is ride or die here, as you see Anneli find the par. This is a tricky birdie to get, so likely some strokes on the field, as we see you and Anneli securing the par, and Sofie as well. Hole 7, not too much damage done, but only 1 birdie here for our lead card.
Not too much danger to get into on this hole, but a very nice birdie if you can get it.
And shout out to the DGN crew who are around this weekend in Konopište. Incredible to have some live coverage as well as post-production. We are bringing you disc golf on all ends. Here on hole 8, a 90-meter par 3, one of the most forgiving holes on the course, and definitely one that players want to attack if they want to keep the pace to stay at the lead. You have this wide open fairway and a late tree line that you want to pierce through. You can play the forehand hyzer, air shot, or skip shot, as well as the backhand turnover, a very viable line, and once you make it to the green, you have an elevated basket to contend with, making sure that you can putt confidently and in the chains.
Yeah, again, lots of different options to be able to throw off the tee.
I think the sign of great course design and thoughtful hole design that there is more than one available line. We'll see Kristi playing to her strong side. The forehand, although that anhyzer release brings her a little bit left and she doesn't quite catch the edge for the full skip towards the end.
I'm going with the D1 again. Just a little nose up, but good distance with the skip, and lands inside the bullseye.
A little nose up, she says, while hitting the bullseye. An incredible shot there. Very clean. And Anneli, also no stranger to the forehand, has some good power as you see her push this one out towards the left side trees, just barely unable to hit the final gap. Those are really the only guardians that you need to beat, and I'd say about 1 person per card seems to get caught up in either the branches or the trunks of those trees. And Sofie here playing the backhand doesn't quite pan out or fade at the end. We'll leave her at circle 1's edge, putting towards OB with the elevated. Anneli as well from circle 2. Not one to lay it up.
It's a very scary basket to run at, but yeah, Anneli just has the confidence to be able to do it. Sofie as well, looking as if She will run. And yeah, just a left-hand side miss. With the elevated basket though, yeah, scary to run, and the rollerways are tough.
Now still a tester for Sofie, but very confident she puts that high and right, catching the disc. She's put together 3 pars in a row now, as we see Anneli for her par save.
Both making them comebacks look extremely easy. Anneli also gets the par. Kristi now, par as well. And myself from inside the bullseye, looking at the birdie.
The sole birdie for the lead card. Rachel, you're currently sitting with 1 stroke in the lead at 5 under. This will put you to 6 under total and 3 under for the round. A significant swing now as you're developing a little bit of a cushion, taking the lead.
An exciting start to the round 2, but yeah, there's been a few swings already between the leaders, so yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We will close out this front 9 here on hole 9. A par 4 at 288 meters. This is significantly downhill the entire way. A straight to softly left fading shot is great. You can also play the pure hyzer towards the left side of the fairway, although you want as much distance as possible. A lot of players will opt for a hyzer flip or soft flex. You then have to battle through these large trees as well as OB on the left side of this mouth. Anything that gets caught up there will find the penalty stroke. The right side with some big trees, while not giving an OB penalty, is slightly thicker and can heavily obstruct your shot. You come into a very fast green with OB long. This is another one where distance is rewarded, but also requiring some precision.
Yeah, hole 9 played as the most difficult hole today as well, averaging a 5.33, so nearly a stroke and a half over par. I go with the hyzer backhand, a D1 again, and yeah, just hyzer out perfectly into the fairway.
And the left side of the fairway will open up that 1 angle hyzer that can push around the corner. If you're more on the right side, you can see the basket, but it requires a more touchy straight shot. So we see Kristi there pump her drive out, also on a soft hyzer angle. She'll be caught just before those trees, I think still well in the open. A fine shot.
Anneli looking to bite off as much distance as she can. She corrects from her shot yesterday, which went into the right-hand side. And a beautiful shot. Almost to the 150 mark. That's a fantastic drive.
Really nice. As she'll have more of that straight look as we mentioned. Sofie now up on the tee. She uses some understability there to get a full flight soft hyzer release into turnover and then fading out. She is right up there with Anneli just before that 150 meter banner. Some big drives here on hole 9. And I'd say one of the most fun tee shots to throw on the course.
Definitely, yeah. It's really fun to bomb a long drive. Kristi with the turnover forehand. Nice and clear in the fairway.
Friendly green flag. Thank you to all the volunteers and staff who have put in the effort this weekend to ensure clarity and such a great event to go smoothly. Anneli turning this one over on the second. She is in that large hanging tree. Those branches can really prevent progress on the next shot. She'll need to manufacture some sort of scramble towards the green.
Yeah, the second shot is a difficult one. You're running down the hill and yeah, you have to contend with a lot of trees. Sofie unfortunately just leaks out left into the OB. It's quite a tight line between the OB on the left and the limbs on the right. Neither are really that safe, but I'm looking to shoot another one down the middle and execute that really nicely, just pushing the right hand side, but free of the limbs.
Oh, and a really nice soft counter skip puts you well into the circle, putting for birdie as you look to potentially extend your lead. Kristi now with quite some work left. She's going for the low hyzer option. She will hope to find a skip, and a big one at that she finds. Although it doesn't swing too far left, she gets that extra bit of distance and is now putting laterally, a flat to softly downhill putt. Anneli in a tough spot.
Yeah, being under that tree is very difficult. The limbs hang down so far and it's really difficult to get a shot out. Sofie from the OB now. Just a little low, a little short, but we'll be inside C2. Anneli caught up again under the next tree. unfortunately, yeah, just catching limbs on the way out. She didn't really have much else there, but she's out looking in the fairway now.
Anneli still with a soft upshot, leaning on her tactic, almost gave it a run there. I think she wanted that.
Yeah, definitely. I thought she was trying to go in there. It was a good shot.
Which is quite brave considering how close Obi is behind, but it was a very good run. She keeps it safe, and Sofie from way downtown cashing the bogey save after finding OB. That's an incredible putt as we see it from another angle.
Definitely deserves the replay with that shot from about 20 meters out. So confident with that jump putt.
Boom, right on the pole in the center. Incredible. Although it is for bogey, she can hold her head higher and walk away feeling great about such a long putt.
Absolutely. Kristi looking to repeat, but just left-hand side of the basket. Anneli from long circle one. That confident putt stroke into the basket. She cards a double bogey, catching up on the right-hand side. But yeah, a strong putt.
As Anneli has fallen behind a little bit, your leader coming into this round. Rachel, we see you there cashing yet another birdie here on hole 9. 4 down through the front 9, putting 2 together in a row now. You have extended your lead at 7 under par.
Yeah, brilliant start for myself. Kristi with the bogey, but another good putt.
And as we close out this front 9, are you aware of the lead? Is it in your head at all? Are you thinking about scores?
The whole time, round 1 and round 2, I haven't checked any scores. Just playing my own game and seeing how far I can get.
Trying to birdie every hole, I'm sure. We
That's
see
the plan.
Rachel Turton, your sole leader, with a hot 4 under in the front 9, 7 under total. Sofie sitting in second at 3 under. Anneli in third at 2 under. Kristi in fourth at 1 under. The chase card so far unable to crack this lead card in the front 9. But this is the halfway of the tournament. We have 27 holes left to go. We appreciate you joining us. We hope you enjoyed. And we hope to catch you on the back 9.
See you on the back 9.